let's look at the types of thoughts. So there are three types of thoughts that you create, or that create you, rather than you creating, because as I said, we do not create our thoughts come to us. Where do they come from is again something which needs to be analyzed. Every individual has to look at his own source of thoughts and where they are coming from. And as I said, 99% of the time they are coming from your own past experiences and hopes and dreams and wishes. And we need to find how comfortable we are with respect to the thoughts that are coming to us. Now, classifying these thoughts, there are three types of thoughts that can be classified as the thought of who, the thought of why, and the thought of how. Now, what does that mean? Well, who is basically an inquiry-led thought. So this inquiry leads you to the root of your existence. I don't know how much of the time we ponder on this question of inquiry, but yes, who as a question is mostly in our thought process about others. It is mostly about the people around us, situations around us. We always want to know who this is, who the person is, and that starts creating a sense of inquiry towards the external world. Even as a child, when we grow, the first thing we start trying to understand the world around us is by asking this question of who. And once we understand that this is called as a mother, and this is called as a father, and this is what a mother means, and this is what a father means, and then an uncle means, and an aunt means, and so on, we start creating our own perceptions and responses. So somebody having a good uncle or a good aunt will have a favorable opinion about the relationship of an aunt, and there's somebody who has a strict or a cunning uncle or an aunt will have a negative notation, and will start try looking at that relation from a skeptic angle. Slowly, again, this is how we have been growing through various stages, forming our own conditionings and trying to understand how a particular relation, or why a particular relation has affected us, and why do we respond in a particular way to certain words, to certain statements, to certain people. Like, for example, if we have been brought up by showing that Hitler was a great hero, and identifying with anybody who says Hitler was great, and not identifying with anybody who says Hitler was a villain, we would have a conditioning and a thought process which would be contrary to the society, which may have an opposite image about Hitler. And that can create a lot of friction between our belief systems and our thought processes vis-a-vis somebody else's. Or it could be the other way around. We have been taught that Hitler was the worst mass murderer, and probably we are not thought about other mass murderers who were there in history and who could have killed more than what Hitler could have killed. But the conditioning again, and a particular word and a particular situation creates certain images in our mind, and then that creates certain reactions. And where I'm coming from is that when we ask this word who, it should not be so much about the other persons. It should be more about our own selves. And the more you are able to ask yourself this question of who are you, or who am I, the more you start looking at things from a universal perspective. Because whatever opinions and situations around you have created certain images, or have created certain perspectives, whether they are right or wrong, true or bad, is something which is not what I'm trying to ask you to look at. Let them be as they are. What I'm trying to say is, whenever you look at a particular a situation, a word, a person, a country, you need to somewhere, if you are a student of syllogism, try to look at it, or learn to look at it from an unbiased, unconditioned perspective. Because once you do it from this angle, then you are actually aligning with the universal thought of creation. See, the universe, when it is it is raining, it rains all over. It doesn't look at one particular person not getting the rain because he has been bad, or somebody gets more rain because he has been good. So it's good and bad. From the universal point of view, there is nothing like that. From the universal point of view, there are certain rules, there are certain laws, and then that laws will have certain effects. And the more we align ourselves with this universal truths, the more easier it would be for us to be in uh, in comfort with situations, and aligned with the way things are happening, and thus create our own situations as we go ahead. So coming back to this question of who, which we mostly have about everybody else around us, what we need to do is also start asking this question about our own selves and try to find answers. This is it's a very deep question. It is not a very simple question. And again, as I told you, this is from the zone of the black hole, the fourth quadrant, where the more you explore, the more it's an infinite source. But if you are able to get even a few answers from this, you may not get a complete answer, but even if you get a few answers from it, that becomes your starting point for creating a pure identity about yourself. Now this who, as an inquiry, can lead to several inspirations. It can lead to several awakenings within yourself, and the more you explore in this zone of unknown, the more you will see the results affecting and helping your entire existence in the known world. Coming back to the second type of thought that most of us we always create, or that creates us of who we are and what we do, is the question of why. Now this thought about why, this inquiry leads us to identifying the purpose for our existence. Now this is something again where most of the time when we ask this question why, it is always with respect to other people, the outside world. Why this person is like this, why this person treated me in this way, why is nature not supporting me, why is God not helping me, why about, or why did a particular situation happen. So this question of why, again, while asking it from the outside world, we need to understand that the outside world has its own ways of functioning. There are multiple factors that create certain things, and we have very little control on things which are outside. So coming back to, can how do you deal with things which are around? Now most of the time, because you have no control, no matter what you do about these situations, it would rarely help you to come out as, you know as feeling better or feeling good about the situation, unless you start asking this question about why on yourself, and trying to identify the purpose of your existence. Why am I around? What is the reason for my presence right now in this situation at this moment? And what am I doing in this particular situation? So this existence, though it looks quite a deeper subject, and it is a deeper subject, I would like to narrow it down for you to this particular moment. Like, why am I existing at this moment in this situation? What is it that I am doing here right now? I can be simply sitting in a train and reading a book, or I can be working in an office and completing an invoice, or I can be sitting in a shop and counting money and giving goods. So whatever I am doing right now, the question is, somewhere we need to be in tandem with our existence. Like, what am I doing? Who am I? What am I doing? These two fundamental thought processes start creating us and helping us aligning with the universal thought which has created the entire universe, and which creates every day and every moment as we live. So this is the second level of thought that creates us. And finally, the how. Now, this is where most of the time people do not put efforts in, and this how is actually an interesting question to ask, because if we start asking more about how, this would lead us to finding new ways to achieve things. It will also help us internally to achieve our own goals in life and live on a day-to-day basis. But how is something which actually starts creating the source of your life's creations. And this source of life creation, every life that lives and creates something, whether it consciously does it or it unconsciously does it. It tries to justify its existence by creating something or the other, whether that is good or bad, right or wrong. Again, I'm not getting into that zone at all. I'm simply looking at it purely from a universal truth perspective, where this is the fact. No matter if you have a beggar sitting on the road, or if you have a person in, driving in a Jaguar, both of them at any given moment are simply creating their life. They are creating their life at that point based on where the universe has placed them, and all they can do at that point of time is to see how I can make my existence more better, more meaningful, rather more aligned with what the universe has in its in its intelligence or in its supreme creation, because that's how the entire world is moving, whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not. This is how it is. The earlier you accept this fact, the better it is for you to live a more satisfying and peaceful life at a given moment. I'm not talking about the future, I'm not talking about the past, I'm talking about this particular moment, because finally we all live only in the moment. No matter how much you have dreams about, or how much you have needs about, you always live only in that moment. And this is something which is again a universal truth. You cannot change it. It's, for example, you may want to have an ice cream and you dream about an ice cream and the various layers of those ice creams and what taste it would have and everything. And once you reach that point when you get that ice cream and then you start tasting it, the first taste, the experience of that taste, and it's gone. And then the next taste, and then the experience, and it's gone. And slowly the ice cream is over, and then you do not have anything but a memory of the experience, but you have moved on to the next moment. And that is how it keeps on going. No matter how big or how great your wishes and dreams are, you only live them at a particular moment through a particular experience. And that is what every life is, basically a series of experience at a given moment in time. Now, once you understand this reality about existence, you will slowly see that you have very little control on what is happening to you. All you can do is decide on how you want to change your course of experiences as they are coming to you through the various choices that you make, which again come from your conditioning, your thought processes, or how you are aligned your state of rational thinking into. So it is a bit deeper here, but I would want that you understand the sense of density that this particular uh, idea carries, because this is what life is about, whether you accept or don't accept it, you cannot change this universal fact. The more you accept a fact of the universe, the more you get aligned with the truth. The more you get aligned with the truth, again, from the point of view of existence. I'm not talking about a universal truth and a greater truth, because again, these are deeper subjects. The infinite source of knowledge can have multiple answers to many of these questions, but I would like to again bring you back and handhold you. It's like trying to get into the sea. The sea is quite deep, and I'm simply trying to give you the experience of the sea by putting a life jacket around you and ensuring that you get a taste of it, and then roping you back into the onto the side of the beach, so that you become aware about how to swim, how to navigate, how to experience this ocean of infinite knowledge. And the more you start going into this ocean to carry back knowledge and learnings, the more it will start enriching you. You will be getting, it's like getting pearls from the bottom of the sea, and every pearl will only enrich you and make you feel uh, even better, and a sense of achievement. And what do we do with these pearls is something, again, I'll not address right now, but I will leave it to the future sessions. But we will address these questions as well as we go ahead. Right now, at this particular moment, I want you to be slowly aware about this concept of thought. Be aware that you are a creation of your thought. Be aware that these thoughts are not in your control. Be aware that these thoughts create you, and also be aware that these thoughts are the source of your all creations that would lead you to achieving your dreams, your visions, your hopes that you have in life, or even your experiences that you want to have in future, while also making you aware that finally every experience is nothing but a given moment in time. And the more you are able to learn to navigate and live in that moment, the more you will be comfortable. The more you will be comfortable in achieving your life visions, your life dreams, with respect to any sections of wants and needs that you have created for yourself.